What is it called? Like
Lyndon, please, we've begun. My name is Troy, and you're listening to Mission Stories. This is episode number 2. We made it to episode number 2, Lyndon. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling like we've made it.
Episode number 1 had 65 listens last time I looked. That's pretty good, right?
That's almost 10 times more than I predicted.
Yeah, your prediction was 7.
Blew that out of the water.
Blew it out of the water. This is a podcast where we talk about mission stories, funny, interesting, strange stories from our missions and the missions of our eventual guests that we're going to want to have on. We recorded the first episode in sort of on a lark.
Impromptu.
Improvisational, unscripted. Raw.
Unedited.
And
unfiltered.
No filters were on it except for the cool filters we put on our voices. We really have horribly awful voices to listen to. Just kidding. These are our voices, our silky smooth voices. We're gonna get to that feedback in a little bit here, but so that's what we want to do today. Is we want to talk about some of the feedback that we did have, and sort of go from there and give you a taste of what this podcast is going to be like moving forward. Lyndon.
Yeah, how was your weekend, Troy?
My weekend, it was pretty good. I went to Edmonton, and I have a girlfriend. I'm just going to say that. I have a girlfriend, and I went and I visited her in Edmonton.
Visited your girlfriend in Edmonton?
Yeah, it was her mom's birthday, and there was some dancing, and some guitars were played, and it was a very interesting time. Do people want to hear this?
Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Let us never question what people want to hear ever again.
And with that, we're going into feedback.
I mean, my weekend was pretty good.
I don't give a darn about your weekend.
Start of the NBA playoffs.
Oh, okay, that's kind of
the Halo World Championship was this weekend.
Okay.
Also, one of the most emotionally raw weekends I've ever had.
That's the nerdiest thing and the coolest. NBA plus Halo.
Yeah, all in one weekend.
Cool. Why was it emotionally raw? Tell me about that.
Well, let me I spent earlier this week promoting the podcast to our friends and was like, give us some feedback. And the response was surprisingly active.
You were not prepared. Your little heart was not prepared for how much.
I mean, going into it, I was aware of some of the weaknesses of episode 1.
Yeah.
But they had very strong reactions to be like, this is why it was bad, and this is why it was good.
And it's almost like I feel like we went into it knowing like, yeah, of course it's going to be rough. And then people were like, how dare it be so rough? A little bit, you know?
They're like, how dare you personally message me asking me to listen to this hour-long podcast, which is just a casual conversation between Troy and Lyndon. Yeah. But boy, did they listen, and boy, did they have thoughts. My brother came downstairs to my basement, 2 pages, handwritten notes.
What was like the handwriting like? Was it like a frantic scrawl, or was it like a serial killer sort of methodical? And you know what I mean?
If I had to rank it, I'd put it closer to serial killers.
Okay, so very neat, very tidy.
Well, he has a nice like kind of slant, I feel like, to his printing.
Right.
I did not do any sort of handwriting
calligraphy analysis.
I did not.
Cartography.
I did not.
That's another thing we know little to nothing about. Calligraphy, cartography. Is that the word?
That's maps.
Damn it!
One of the popular feedbacks was, does Troy mean this? People were often like, does Troy mean this? And I was like, yes, he did mean that.
Like, he didn't mean whatever he said.
He did not mean the Exxon Valdez. He was talking about the Maldives or the Maldives, where Justin Trudeau vacations.
Okay, so I was
You were on the right
Pretty
track.
close. Okay.
Well,
I nailed it. All right.
phonetically, you were close. They kind
Great.
of sound the same. My favorite feedback was Alita from Calgary writes, once I got past the misogyny and sacrilege, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Once we actually told mission stories.
Yeah.
So should we talk about what happened last time?
Last time, I filled you in on General Conference.
Yeah, I enjoyed that actually.
And we did briefly or extensively discuss the Joe Bishop controversy.
That's his name. We didn't even bring up his name before.
We probably didn't even know. I feel like we said Bishop.
Did we?
But one mistake I had reported, and to keep my journalistic integrity on this podcast.
Because you are, in fact, a journalist.
Yes, in fact, indeed. is I said, I don't think he is raping people. But the allegations 100% are that he was.
Okay.
So correction.
So he was raping people.
Allegedly.
Okay.
And we incorrectly reported that we didn't think he was.
We apologize, and we apologize. Maybe, here's what happened. Lyndon and I, we're a couple of jokesters. We're a couple of, we like to laugh.
Really ham it up.
And also we were nervous, I think. I know, like, as soon as he brought up that topic, I was like, oh, okay. I'm cool. I'm just going to roll with it. Power through it. And it was treated a little lighter, much lighter than it definitely should have been.
Well, I don't know. We treated it as seriously as we know how.
Yeah, we're very incapable.
But and the other correction was in the end we're like, I think things are a lot better now than they are in the 80s. Turns out we have no way of knowing if things are actually better.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't say we think they are because we have no way of knowing.
No, we're just two white straight males who really have no business weighing in on. I don't know. I won't.
Alternatively,
say that. I won't say that, but
we
don't know what we're talking about.
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes we do, but
and we are going to do better.
We're going to do better, and
one listener from all the way out in British Columbia says, "Don't let anyone censor you. Say what you got to say." brought up the good old Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson, noted feather stirrer. Is that a word? Is that a term? Feather stirrer? Just
confidently say the thing you're going to say.
I'm not
a noted supporter of free speech.
Yeah. So I do believe in that though, but I also take the criticisms that like when you're talking about such hot button topics, the least we can do is take them a little bit more seriously, and the most we can do is say correct things about
accurately report on.
Yes. So we'll try to do that better in the future.
Yeah.
Because this podcast is going on and on and on into the future.
Can't stop.
100 years.
100 years, Troy and Lyndon.
Never going to stop. Szechuan sauce. Okay. Little Rick and Morty joke for you there. Was there any more feedback? Any more like funny little tidbits you picked up?
The positive was...
Okay, go.
People are like, you guys are not annoying.
Yeah.
Voices for podcasts, they said.
Yeah.
And I say faces for Hollywood, but everyone laughs when I say that.
That's a joke. Not to you. As you say it, you're looking into my eyes right now. You are dead serious. As you say,
voices for radio, faces for Hollywood.
Faces for Hollywood. And I believe you. I'm with you. I'm one of those faces.
And they like our chemistry. They can tell that we're friends.
What if we weren't friends?
Turns out Troy contacted me via Kijiji, Craigslist.
Yeah.
He's like, I need someone to host a podcast.
Yeah, I just put up an open ad. I was like, anybody can respond.
Just in the personal section.
And you were the first one.
Yeah.
And here we are. Turns out we have great chemistry, though, and it all worked out for the best so far. I want to talk about like your family though. I felt like your family had the funniest feedback. I just like shout out to. Can I say? Of course, we've already established that Eric Naglis is your father.
Right. He is the third host of the show.
The silent host. He's here right now.
There's an open spot, an open seat here
Yeah.
for Eric Naglis,
If
my
he
father.
wants. Yeah. That would be the fun. That would be. We should do that.
Right. Wow.
That would be terrible.
But
Or great.
terrible or great.
Great and terrible.
But I guess the first people I sent the podcast to was my family.
Yeah.
And my sister noticed that Eric was featured extensively.
Yes.
And sent it to him. He listened to it for 15 minutes, declared the podcast fake news, and was done with it.
Can I ask you this? Mm-hmm. Does it seem like fake news is like a dad thing to say now?
Well, then,
because my dad also says it quite a bit.
Well, that was the thing. My siblings, I was like, "Thanks for sharing it with his pops." He called it fake news, and my siblings were all like, "How does he even know what that is?"
Is your dad on Facebook?
He's on business Facebook, aka LinkedIn.
Yeah. So he like goes around and he's like, "Hey, what's your LinkedIn?"
I don't know. I'm not on LinkedIn.
You're like, I have nothing to do with the business world, sir.
I know he likes to. He's posted some spicy memes about our prime minister.
Oh no.
You know. I think he uses LinkedIn like Facebook.
Yeah, for memes, primarily. Spicy anti-Trudeau memes.
So yeah, he's hip to the hop with the current day lingo.
He's hip. He's hop. Are we breaching into our topical topics portion here? I know like one of the feedbacks actually before we move on was that I was obsessed with segments, and that I needed to like slow down with like naming segments or something, and I got really self-conscious.
Really?
A little bit. Yeah. I was like, whatever you do, don't make a segment too obvious. But I liked our topical topics before it landed us in hot water. Let's see if we can do that again, Lyndon.
Oh, you want to talk about my current day mission story event?
If you want. I just want to see if we can sort of squirm with it.
You know what? I do want to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
And I even did a little market test
with
some people. The story goes, working at my work at a retail location, and they pulled some product recently. It was things related to spirit animals. Like it was a pillow cover that said, "Canada is my spirit animal." I think there was unicorns are my spirit animal, and they pulled it. And there was a little note saying that this company is dedicated towards reconciliation, and they regret putting that product out there.
With indigenous people.
Right. For natives, indigenous people. And so I had one coworker who was very, after the fact, very like, I can't believe we had that out there, and this was very good that we got rid of it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, interesting. And it reminded me of a mission story.
Here we go, folks.
Back on the mission, there was a group of elders who were performing these little rituals.
Before you go on, I just want to I hope everyone isn't imagining Lyndon at his workplace, bubble over his head, imagining all of this.
Right.
Okay, go.
Group of missionaries that they would get together, probably on P-Day Eve or something, and they would perform these rituals where they would discover what their spirit animals were.
What?
What? Yeah.
What do you mean a ritual?
It was basically like they sat down.
Were you there?
I never
Were you
was.
like the ringleader?
Absolutely not.
There were some missionaries, myself, who is in charge of it. Okay, so you never participated.
They were basically doing like a fancy Myers-Briggs test on each other.
Okay.
And we had at one point an elder bear his testimony in Zone Conference about how this spirit animal session had really helped him because he, as a group, they decided his spirit animal was the elephant. Mm-hmm. And it really helped him understand who he is and what he represents because of his connection to the elephant. And I was like, you know what?
He said this in Zone Conference?
Yeah.
Did anyone say anything about that?
No. I mean, to myself, I was just like, you got one spirit, the one God gave you. And so I hated it. And they were like, oh, Elder Naglis, what's your spirit animal? Are you going to do this? And I was like, no. But they're like, you got to have. I think I said the leopard seal.
Your mom is going to be happy to hear that you were not pleased with this.
Yeah.
This
I had a theological problem
yeah.
with this activity. And so I jokingly said, the leopard seal, because they eat penguins.
Because you personally like to eat penguins.
Well, I was just, it was a goof.
Right.
Like the fact that people are like, I identify with this animal because of this. And I was like, I identify with leopard seals because they eat penguins.
Because they're ferocious. Because they're very confident in themselves.
So, I mean, at the time, I disagreed with it for theological. But now you have to disagree with it because of cultural appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we say today are spirit animals. Like you can go online, you can get a T-shirt that says, Ron Swanson is my spirit animal.
Yeah, I really don't like that.
Right.
I just hate it. It just seems to me like, I mean, I guess there's the whole, the socially conscious reasons, but the reason that kind of bugs me is that it's just so like, it's like people who find memes on the internet and then like say them as their own joke in like a natural setting, and it's just like I saw that same meme, dude. I saw that on Facebook like just yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that's why it bothers me.
Right, where a lot of time it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like our pride, it's like Canada is my spirit animal. It's like Canada is a nation.
It's a nation state.
It's not even an animal.
Not an animal.
And so the native people are just like, you are taking our culture, commodifying it, and consuming it.
Yeah.
And the problem, they get there's a little bit of pushback because they call it genocide whenever people do this, which might be, I think, a little too far.
Is it? Yeah, that's okay.
But it's like a form of genocide because when Tumblr or whatever says,
genocide.
Okay. Leslie Knope is my spirit animal, they're just saying, I identify with this thing.
Yeah.
Therefore,
I like Leslie Knope is what they're saying.
It's like, it helps me understand who I am. Yeah. Therefore, it is my spirit animal.
Right.
Which is incorrect, according to native people. It means something else entirely.
Right.
And when the internet wholeheartedly comes in and says it's now what we say it is, kind of like erases the original meaning.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
That is bad. That's interesting. I want to know more about this missionary ceremony. I feel like whenever missionaries get together and have a ceremony, that's like a terrible thing. That's bad.
Well, I think it was just a small group, and it like promptly ended.
They used to scare us.
Like they would light
stories.
Candles. Like that was a thing.
They would light candles.
They would light a candle.
That's bad. Candles have no business on a mission.
Candles are of the devil.
They are of the devil. I remember this one missionary he was a Spanish-speaking missionary, so he was in that sort of Mexican-Spanish culture a lot, and someone gave him a candle with like a saint on it, and he thought that he felt kind of like a bad spirit when he lit the candle. So he blew it out, and he went to his room and prayed, and he felt better. So let that be a lesson to all of us, that candles should have nothing to do with missionaries. They're a gateway for Satan to enter the home.
Yeah.
And all homes.
Unless it's a scented candle with no images, and even then, you're on the edge.
Our first sponsor today is Wax Candles. They keep your house lit.
Keep it lit.
Keeping it lit.
Right.
But I think we've covered this quite extensively, and I think we should move on to our topic of the day.
Okay.
Our topic of the day is we want to talk about the beginning. We thought, let's start at the beginning. Pre-mission.
Genesis.
Genesis. And in the beginning, before you go on a mission, sort of getting your call, the MTC, maybe your first day at the MTC, and those sorts of topics. So there's a couple of there's some things I want to touch on here because I think it's a very interesting subject. And of course, the stories I think will come. But, okay, so my first question for you is, your dad's a convert, is that right?
Correct.
Did he go on a mission?
He did not.
He did not, okay. That's what I thought. So did your mom, she did not go on a mission?
No.
So who was the first person in your family?
Well, so here's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
The name, the little name tag.
Yeah.
Elder Naglis. Mine's the original.
Oh.
Never before was there an Elder Naglis.
Ever.
There might have been an Elder Naglis, an Elder Nogales, but Elder Naglis, original.
How do you know that?
Because there aren't a lot of the Nagli in the world.
I can imagine, yeah.
And we do our best to keep track of them.
Yeah.
As is the nature of members of the church.
Yeah.
And we're the only ones that are members. And I was the first of my name to serve.
That's pretty cool.
So
the first in your family.
Yeah.
First.
But I mean, so who did I talk to about?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law. He served his mission in Kentucky.
I see.
So he was my only little point of contact. I guess my young men's leader.
Was there pressure? Did your mom and dad were they encouraging? Were they sort of like, this is what we do, starting with you, kind of a thing, or?
Well, they were obviously ever supportive.
Yeah. Did you want?
Well, it was like, in primary, they're like, make the decision now to never smoke and drink.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. They're like, make the decision now to go on a mission. So the decision was made when I was like 8 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Like I know, no, I do remember at 8 years old, my mom took me to set up my own personal bank account. And I was like,
at 8 years old?
At 8 years old.
You had a bank account.
Yeah. And I remember asking her, like,
TFSA.
They didn't, I don't think they had those back then.
Okay.
And I was like, why do I need this for? And I think she said, to save for your mission.
Cool. Did you actually use it for that? Did you save it for your mission? No,
not really. Eventually, I did.
I bet on penny stocks. What do you think I did?
What does any 8-year-old do with a personal checking account?
Fulfill the blank check film in real life.
So that was the first memory I have of being destined to go on a mission, and I accepted that fate.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah, I was just so my family. My grandparents on my father's side are both converts. So, but both of my grandfathers served missions, and then my father served a mission, and that was enough of a lineage, a tradition of going on a mission that it was like, okay, yes. This is what we do, and I want to be kind of part of that tradition. I remember kind of getting closer to it, though. It was a little scary because before that I was sort of riding high on the credit of, it's like, I'm going to serve a mission, and you get a lot of sort of accolades and adulation from your family and sort of from that. But as it got closer to it, I thought a couple of things. I thought, first of all, my personality would change for some reason. I thought I wouldn't be allowed to be funny anymore. That they would just be like, no joking, no personality, no nothing. I don't know why I thought this. I had nothing to back it up with, but it's just what I thought. And yeah, and I just thought, so I got kind of scared, and I remember I read some journals recently where I was like, I don't want to go on a mission, or that I was scared to anyway. Did you ever feel that way? Were you ever hesitant?
No.
You're like, no. I would never ever write that down.
I do remember I did not feel pressured from my family so much, like the ward. I mean, because there was a string of the young men older than me. A lot of them were kind of dropping out, not going on missions.
Same with me. Same with my ward.
And so they were like, all our hope is on Linden.
Yeah, same with me. That was the exact same scenario.
Where they're like, he was going to have to buck the trend of not going on a mission and, you know, be a good influence on all those younger than him.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to do this to save the ward.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was sort of posed for me as well. I mean, like the kids right before me were planning these elaborate like prank parties at members of the bishopric's houses, and like hundreds of students would come and like drink alcohol at this guy's house. So they were like, their mission was like pranking the bishopric and, you know, going off and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then it was the same situation. It was like, you're the bright shining hope of the ward. So it does kind of put like a weight on it when you're getting closer to it. And it is kind of nice. It's nice to feel that way. I'm glad I went pre-surge, as it is a term I'm sure we'll establish quite heavily on this show. When was the surge, and what is the surge? Maybe we should clarify.
2012.
2012. What happened?
President Monson declares he's lowering the mission age for young men to 18 and for young women to 19.
Before it was men were 19, women had to be 21.
Yeah.
So obviously that kind of frees up a lot of people to go on missions sooner. So as I was saying, I'm kind of glad that I got to go during that time, because I felt special.
Well, and we were in between prior to the surge, the last major event was Raising the Bar.
Right. When was that?
I don't know. I know it was before 2008.
Yeah. And then it was like Preach My Gospel was sort of hand in hand with Raising the Bar, right. Wasn't it?
Because I know my brother-in-law, he served his mission prior to Raising the Bar.
Yeah.
Because he recounted he had like a companion that was in a wheelchair.
Oh.
So like Raising the Bar wasn't just like, you know, morality standards.
Yeah.
It was also like, you can't have like missionaries in, you know, wheelchairs serving missions anymore.
Not proselyting.
Not
on the
proselyting,
street
just like
kind of missions.
They could be service missionaries.
Right. Yeah, it was because it was like Preach My Gospel, and then or Raising the Bar, and then Preach My Gospel came out, which was pretty revolutionary. Before that, I think they had these sort of memorized conversations, and this sort of emphasized, teaching by the Spirit, that sort of thing. I think just being more flexible with your teaching was sort of the prime.
More customizable lessons.
Yeah, the prime directive. Okay. And then, so we went in 2008, both of us. Mm-hmm. And right as the housing crisis was happening, the market was crashing. What are they called? The collateralized debt packages or something.
Right. All them subprime mortgages.
Subprime mortgages, they were tanking. And I remember like the idea was boy, it's a good time to be on a mission right now. Instead
I was told that too.
Having to go to find a job somewhere. I served in Georgia. Everybody talks like that down there.
Everyone, Troy?
Every single one. Bring it on. Whoever wants to get mad, come at me, bro.
What a sweeping generalization about the Georgian people.
I don't give a damn. Just kidding. I love the people of Georgia. They're a diverse group of wonderful people. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that's sort of the time frame for us going in. I want to talk about like getting your mission call. For me, it was I just remember filling out the paperwork. Or it was all online though, and I don't know if this process has changed at all. I really know nothing about it today, but in 2008, you went online and you filled out all the paperwork, and part of it was the medical stuff. And I remember it had like every possible thing that could ever be wrong with you, and it went down. I went down the list, and I was like, I don't really have anything, seriously wrong with me. And so I get to like headaches, and it's like, do you ever get headaches? I'm like, well, obviously, yeah, sometimes I get a headache. And so I click the box, and then like down the list goes. It's like now there's like a million sub topics for headaches. It's like, how frequently do you get them? How intense are they? Do they, debilitating? I was like, whoa. I don't get headaches that badly. And so I unclicked the box. But I just remember thinking, like, if anybody like accidentally, sort of went down that rabbit hole and, that hypochondriac sort of rabbit hole, they might like find themselves in a place maybe where they hadn't wanted to go, like disqualified them from going to Zambia or wherever they thought they wanted to go. What was that process like for you, like filling out the paperwork?
I just remember that I loved filling out forms. Back like 18-year-old Lyndon loved filling out forms.
What kinds of forms?
Oh, anything, government forms. They ask for your information.
Any and all.
It's like, I will love to populate this with some information. The health section, I did not even click on anything to explore what would happen. I was just like, I'm the healthiest man there ever was. Which later proved to be false. But yeah, I did not even know that there were the subsections if you clicked on anything.
Subsections.
Shout out to my mother. I know she definitely was my executive secretary when it came to those forms.
So you didn't really fill any of them out.
Well, I filled out like she was the one. She's like scheduling my dental appointment, my doctor's appointment.
What 18-year-old is actually doing any of that themselves? Like, honestly, shout out to all mothers. My mother as well. Thank you, mother. See you at dinner tonight.
Well, this is why maybe we barely got over the bar. Maybe today. Well, I hear stories of people who like secretly filled out their papers and did all that without telling their parents.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a secret when they get their mission call.
Right.
And I was like, well, no, I needed support and praise throughout the whole process.
I needed a lot of praise to get me on a mission for sure.
I drove myself to my doctor's appointment.
Well, there you go.
No one had to hold my hand.
Was that like your first real physical?
Oh, it wasn't real because I went to
I went to a witch doctor.
I went to an old friend.
Who was not a doctor.
He was like my second father that I grew up with, and he was a doctor. 2009, I think, Alberta's #1 physician.
Wow.
Some year, he was the #1 physician in Alberta. So basically, we get to the awkward parts, and he's like, "You know what we're doing, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna check."
He's like, "You gotta do it to yourself."
I was like, I know what I'm about."
And this is the finest doctor of 2009.
Why do you think he won that award?
Because he doesn't make anybody do anything. He's like, how do you feel? I feel fine. Great.
Where it's like, we've known each other for 18 years now. Do you want me to put my hands down your pants? It's like, I'd rather you didn't. He's like, and I won't.
Do you want me to put I will put my hands down your pants if you want me to.
So it's just bedside manner through the roof.
10 out of 10. Thoroughness, 1 out of 10. Who knows what you just skimmed over. That's too bad. Oh, well.
It was testicular cancer is what he was testing for. And I was like, I can confirm it's okay.
Not prostate.
Actually, I remember because that was actually one of the things.
It's fine.
The prostate exam was on the mission test.
Yeah.
And he said, those are for guys that are like 55 years old. He's like, we're not doing that. And I was like, amen.
He's like, I'm not doing that. Screw you. I was very, very, very afraid of a prostate exam.
It was on the test.
I didn't get one. Oh, wait. Oh, did they?
I think you'd remember.
I don't think they did because I remember being relieved. I remember being very relieved. I had a lady doctor, and this is a strange story to tell.
It's part of the process.
Part of the process. She was like, she pull your pants down, and I had never done this before. I'd never pulled my pants down in front of a lady or anybody, and like, so I'm just like laying naked on the table, and she does the testicular cancer exam. And it was all over very quickly, but I remember it being kind of traumatic, and I was glad that the prostate. That's so weird that she didn't do that, actually.
I don't think it's weird. Like, no 18-year-old needs that exam done.
But, like, shouldn't they have done that?
No.
I'm like, I want that exam. I feel like I got gypped.
I'm sure you can ask for one.
I can go get one now, I guess.
You can demand one now.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm all right. Okay. So getting your mission call. What was it like? Did you open it in front of a bunch of people? Were you by yourself? What was that like for you?
Oh, it was all a theatrical performance. I actually, once we started this podcast, I actually went through my box of mission memorabilia.
Yeah.
Came across the letter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came in the mail.
President Monson's like really like scraggly signature at the bottom there.
Yeah. And so yeah, got my family all around. I think we might have made a Skype call to some siblings in Calgary.
Okay.
And opened it up, read it.
You were in Olds,
And
Alberta.
out at HQ.
Yeah, headquarters.
So yeah, the big thing was a lot of people. The big joke in the MTC, everyone's like, "Did everyone think you were going to the Temple mission?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." And I was the only one who read it for what it was. I was like, "The Arizona Tempe mission." Well, the first thing, it's like, "Where is Tempe?"
Yeah.
And so we were like, "That's not a real place." So I think my brother hopped on the old Google.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, Tempe. It's right in the middle."
Did you have any preconceptions about where you wanted to go or not go on a mission?
I think in my mind, I was like, I want to go to like Europe, like Latvia or Germany.
Latvia.
Where my
Why Latvia?
well, that's
that's your family.
That's where the Nagless name comes from.
I'm about to start ripping into Latvia. You're like, it's my family.
That's where we
okay. That
wanted
makes
to like
sense.
go serve in like the Baltic states or something.
Yeah.
I think I said like, somewhere tropical like Bora Bora.
Okay.
That was on the wish list. I think I didn't really care. The only thing I said was I do not want to go to Montana, Idaho, or Utah. But I did go to the one state below all those.
Yeah.
So I was fine with that.
Why did you not want to go to those places?
Well, I think I was like, I don't want to stay in like the Mormon pillar,
Yeah.
which I did. And it's like, well, Montana and Idaho are just so close to home.
Yeah.
Or I didn't want to go to the Edmonton mission.
Right.
Because there were rumors, urban legends. Well, not even urban legend. It has happened. Where people from Edmonton get called to Calgary. People from Calgary get called to Edmonton. And I was like, I did not want to do that. That was impossible. Because Olds, Alberta is in the Edmonton mission.
Yeah.
But I left from Calgary. So if I got called to the Edmonton mission, I could have served in my parents' ward.
This is so funny you bring this up. I don't. He may never listen to this. I don't know. My cousin, that exact thing happened to him.
No wonder this is so familiar.
Yeah, he's from Calgary, and he served in Edmonton.
That it wasn't even a mini mission. That was his full-on dedicated call.
His dedicated call. Yeah. After I came home from my mission, I had heard about this happening quite, like there are a few people I met afterwards who they said that happened to them. It goes like all the way up north though, so it's not quite as bad as it sounds. But I think he said he was quite, in these pretty crazy sort of remote places, which would have been interesting. Extremely cold and awful, but interesting nevertheless. Yeah, I was.
What was your wish list?
I was I'd heard about my cousin going to Edmonton, and because I think he had a wish list or something. I remember my sweet grandma. I remember her specifically asking him, and she would always do this. I feel like she was always trying to set us up, She's like, "And where do you want to go on your mission?" And I remember him saying some places. I think he's like, "I want to either like maybe China or like South America or Europe or something." I remember this happening, and then he went to Edmonton, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I remember like my grandma, like she asked me, and I was like afraid to say anywhere. I was just like, wherever the Lord wants to send me. because I didn't want to be. But I did have a list of places I did not want to go, and they were like 2 of the 3. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to leave Canada, and I wanted to go. I didn't want to go to Utah or Idaho. Montana, I don't know why I didn't mind that at all, but
Yeah, that'd probably be a great mission.
it's a nice place. I love Montana, but something about Idaho and Utah I just did not want to get. I served my mission in Atlanta, Georgia, so I got my wish, and I thought it was good because it was like a nice mix of like it's far enough away from Calgary. But it's still in the United States. So it's like I get some wacky stories, but at the same time, I get a toilet, I get plumbing, I get, a refrigerator sort of thing. So I was happy about that. So that was sort of like, okay, so
did you have any theatrics for your call?
Well, my call was like, I get it. And my parents were on a trip. They were visiting some family we have in Utah at the time. And so it was me and my sister were at the house in Calgary, and the letter arrives. I remember like I was sleeping in. It's such a weird time before your mission because like you're just sort of like in this limbo state. I'm really glad that they changed it to the 18 age because I worked these sort of weird odd jobs and slept in and was unemployed for like that year between,
You didn't go to school?
I didn't go to school. No, I was pretty done with school by the time I graduated high school. So yeah, I was like sleeping in. It was like a weekday. I get, my sister's like, she comes up to my room and she's like, Troy, it's here. And I was like, oh, and I was very excited. And so I got up and I was like, but my parents aren't here. What do we do? Do I wait for them? Because then we're going to be home for a couple of days. So began sort of, 2 years of frantically, worriedly praying in my room, and I'm like, God, what do I do? Do I open it now? Do I wait for my parents? I don't know. I was one of those missionaries that like really wanted God to tell them every single thing to do in their life, and this was the beginning of it. Eventually, I just I didn't want to be in front of anybody if I hated where I was going. I didn't want to open up my call and have it be somewhere I didn't want to go, and then I was going to hate it, and then everyone's going to see that look on my face because I don't think you could hide it. I don't think you'd be able to. So I opened it in my room by myself, and I looked at it, and I tried to like not read ahead, to the like, you are called to the, I tried to like read it word for word. And then, I was just like, yeah, that's a cool place. Seems cool. All right. Georgia, great. United States, the South. Though I didn't have much of an idea about it more than that.
Were you disappointed about just when it, like second paragraph, it's like you will be called to serve English speaking.
English, right. Maybe like both. I was a little relieved and also a little sad because it's cool to learn a language. It's a really useful skill you can walk away from a mission with that I just I don't have. But I feel like English. I was never going to be as good at any other language as I am at English, so I was kind of happy about that. What about you? Were you upset?
Well,
about
yeah,
that?
kind of the same because growing up, my adoptive family, they had like 5 sons, and like they were like Madagascar, the Philippines, France, Malaysia. They'd all gone to pretty exotic places, learned exotic languages. Yeah. And I was like, this is going to be my chance to learn a language. And then it's like, you're going to Arizona speaking English. I was like, oh. I was like, thank goodness. Because even though I was like, this is my chance, I'm going to, learn a language. It was also like, oh,
thank
great,
you, God.
Yeah. But, my mission president, to kind of, he's like, you guys are on your mission learning to preach the gospel in English. So when you get back from your mission, you're going to be even better at being teachers and leaders in the church. Whereas other missionaries who only learn to teach in Spanish or something else, it's not going to translate so well when they go home. So he really pumped our tires in that regard.
Yeah, they're gonna come home and they're gonna be like having trouble speaking English, period, and gonna make that that awkward coming home phase that much more awkward.
Yeah.
I don't. How do you feel about was the culture in your mission? This jumping ahead a little bit. This could almost be its own episode, I think. But like, being the culture, because in our mission, the culture between like the Spanish-speaking missionaries and the English-speaking missionaries, there was a definite separation between those two groups. Namely, that the Spanish-speaking missionaries were a little more apostate than the English-speaking missionaries for whatever reason.
I think it just went with the territory.
Yeah, and so there was a little bit of that. I don't know, like an animosity between the two groups, just a little bit between the group. And let it be known, I was a bit of an anal missionary. I wanted to be very obedient, and I kind of like judged very harshly anyone who wasn't extremely obedient. So that was part of it. But you didn't have that on your mission?
Well, the Spanish elders, they were like a little different. Because oftentimes, if anything, we were jealous of them. Oftentimes they would get cars because their areas were bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they'd always get houses.
Like a full house.
Yeah, well, like you said, it was the housing crisis, and it would hit Arizona especially hard. Yeah. So sometimes the cheapest option was to just
buy a house.
Rent out an entire house.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they would only give let the Spanish elders have houses.
The church just mopping up the wreckage of this financial crisis, just buying property left and right at a steal of a deal. Not that they were buying, they were renting. Yeah.
So there was that. And I think I remember just getting along very well with Spanish elders because there was some competition. Obviously, in Arizona, a lot of, people that speak Spanish and English. Mm-hmm. But it's like, do they want to go to an English-speaking ward or do they want to go to a Spanish-speaking ward? Which missionaries get them? So we would often get accused of poaching. Some of the Spanish-speaking converts.
Right.
But then we also were just like, did you know you're not allowed to baptize people who are actively breaking the law? But the church said, obviously, yes, we will baptize all illegal immigrants.
Right.
Which was a major issue in Arizona at the time. If it still is, I don't know and I don't care. Sheriff Joe back then was really cracking down on illegal aliens.
Right.
And we were cracking up on them by baptizing them.
We were laughing all the way to the font.
We were tearing holes in the border wall, bringing in
letting them in right into the church.
Being like, come.
There was a missionary in my mission who was an illegal immigrant. I think they had illegally immigrated to the United States and then was called from the United States to Georgia on their mission. They spoke zero English, and I think his mission was technically an English-speaking mission, though. So he was supposed to learn English, but my mission president was like, no. You're just going to, baptize a bunch of Spanish people and, do very well there. But he was like he just didn't have this wonderful opportunity to learn English as he should have had. Unfortunately, he was a good guy. But anyway, okay, so back to was there anything about your mission call opening that was spectacular? No? Boring? Okay.
I think that about covered the story there.
Okay.
Opened it, I think, on April 29th, I believe, is what the letter was dated.
April 29th. We're coming up on that.
Coming up on it.
Yeah. Your anniversary. So let's talk about the MTC.
The great MTC. You get the heebie-jeebies talking about the MTC?
I actually quite liked the MTC. It was, I guess that's like a whole other thing on its own, is like the number of horror stories that I had heard from so many sources. So there were, this is, I think, worth mentioning. Like, going into the MTC, my father had told me many stories, and there were a couple of things I was quite nervous about. Number one was the shower situation. The bathing and shower situation. I had heard many rumors about a tree of life.
The tree of life.
A single rod where with multiple countless shower heads coming off of it.
Countless.
Young men just herded in like cattle, scrambling for a drop of water. This was terrifying to young Troy, little 18-year-old Troy. I never really played sports. I wasn't in, I never really had that group male shower experience. So I wasn't used to it. I remember there was a difference between, you could tell the people who were nervous about it and those who were just like walking around with their dicks hanging out. We'll cut that out, maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not. That was kind of like a scary situation for me. How was that for you? Did you have any?
Well, no, it had been explained to me, once again, my brother-in-law, because he said, there were like the tree of life.
Yeah.
And I think he said he knew, I think he might have had it, I don't know. But I knew that there were partitions now.
You knew about the
Going
partitions.
into, I knew the tree of life had been partitioned.
Yeah.
And there would be no need to be in the nude in front of other men.
Right. That's so that was like a thing I had to like. I remember before I went thinking of like little snide comebacks to use if anybody like made fun of my body.
You were just prepared, huh?
Yeah, I was like coming in with a little like, well, that's not very Christ-like, How, like just the wimpiest. If I would have said that, I would probably get my butt kicked in the middle of the shower room.
No. I mean, to your point about not playing sports, I did have early morning football practice in high school, and there were two groups. There was the group that showered in the men's change room early in the morning, which was just not a tree of life, but a wide open room.
Yeah.
With shower heads coming out the wall. And then there was the group that showered in the women's locker room early in the morning, which was all stalls.
Okay.
It was about 70-30. 70%.
So you had a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are you supposed to be in the women's locker room? Well, it's like 7 a.m. and school hasn't even started.
Yeah.
And also, who's going to stop us?
Yeah.
Obviously, we were out of there before school started. But about 70% used the women's change rooms. And
really?
And I was in that group.
Okay.
It was the minority that
just opted for the big room.
Yeah. We were like a small little, it was probably like 20 to 30%.
Interesting. I think people just inherently don't want to,
So while I was familiar with showering with men, I was also familiar with the privacy.
Yeah, I was accustomed to privacy.
It was no surprise for me.
Yeah. So I was very, very, very relieved to find out that the shower situation was not just shoulder to shoulder, butt cheek to butt cheek, scrambling for a bar of soap. That was my worst nightmare. I was like, dear God, please give me the strength. Very relieved. I was still... This is another thing about me that has improved a little bit. Maybe just because I don't have to be in this situation much anymore. But I have I like my privacy when I'm going to the bathroom. I like my privacy generally. So mission life was kind of a hell in that regard. But yeah, you just like I would like find little tricks to like find I would wait till everyone was like in class and then go take a poop, or go pee or whatever. Like I hated the idea of like someone waiting on me to go to the bathroom, just waiting just right outside, and just like, ugh, I couldn't do it. It was hard. So that was kind of a nightmare in that regard. The bathing situation and the the whole bathroom scenario, that was a big worry for me.
Tell me about the food situation for you, because that was the number one thing I heard about going into the MTC.
You were in Provo, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I cut you off. The food situation, you had heard about some rumors.
Right, I'd heard it's like, oh, you're in there for 3 weeks, you'll put on 10 pounds.
I was going to ask you this. Did you gain any weight?
No.
None?
No.
Did you lose weight? Some people lose weight.
I think it was just the same.
Yeah.
I never really understood why you would... Well, I kind of understood, because you live a bit of a sedentary lifestyle in the MTC.
Yeah.
But I was told never to drink the orange juice.
Why?
They said it would give you terrible gas. And no one has been able to scientifically prove that. But what I was told was they have chocolate milk on tap.
Yeah.
And it's from the BYU Creamery. So it'll be the best chocolate milk you ever drank. Mm-hmm. So did I dual-wield cups. 1 cup full of that rich, delicious chocolate milk. And another cup of diet caffeine-free Coke.
I thought you were going to say the orange juice. That sweet, sweet orange juice. Chocolate milk
So
and orange juice.
Just doubling up on that. That was my dream. I was like, my 2 favorite beverages on tap.
Oh, yeah, that was good. The drink situation was quite incredible. I love chocolate milk, and so it was it was the celestial kingdom to me in that regard. I don't think I might have gained some weight, actually. I know my companion gained 30 pounds, I think. Something
in 3 weeks.
Yeah, something crazy. Maybe not 30, but I think it was a crazy number.
Was he like filling 3 trays at every meal?
No, he wasn't. Honestly, he wasn't. I think he just...
I don't believe you.
He may not have been 30 pounds. He did gain weight. It was in the 10 to 15 range, though, for sure.
Okay. Maybe 20 I might even believe.
Yeah.
Not 30.
Not 30. Not 25 even, you could believe. Not 30.
23? No. 22, I might believe you.
26 pounds? Yes, I will believe that. 25? No.
4 stones? Okay.
This is going to be the part of the podcast people are going to have the most problem with. Yeah, that part where you talk about the weight specific number. Garbage. Yeah, so I don't remember if I gained weight. I just remember the food was okay. It was bad, actually. I thought the food was bad.
Yeah, it was not good.
No.
I didn't call it bad because it was free and plentiful. But it wasn't very good. Because do you remember Friday nights?
No.
Friday, they would ship in pizza and like teriyaki.
What?
So your Friday dinner was like Domino's. They brought in some pizza.
So what month did you go into the MTC?
I was there in August.
Okay.
So like beginning to the end of August.
That's so funny. I was there in October. So I don't know. I can't remember getting pizza, to be honest.
So yeah, Friday, it was like an option. You had to like check off like earlier in the day before they went and ordered it. You had to fill out whether you wanted like the teriyaki or the pizza. Because there was some, obviously, a pizza place and some teriyaki place in Provo that was
teriyaki place
that wanted to like fill those orders for the MTC. They were probably making a killing.
Oh, I bet they were. And
so they discontinued that for you.
I don't remember it. I don't remember if that happened. I don't think it did.
Because that's how a lot of the foreign-speaking missionaries would measure their time. They're like, this is the 4th teriyaki bowl I've had. And like some guys who were only in there for 3 weeks, like missed out on a Friday, so they'd only get like 2 of those days.
Oh.
I got 3.
You got your 3.
And everyone always, at least once, gets the teriyaki bowl to realize the mistake they made and they should have just got pizza.
You have to sign up for it, though.
Yeah, so it's like, Friday afternoon, you got to check your ballot.
Yeah.
So they know how much to go order.
Interesting. Yeah, food was okay. I want to talk about something specific here. One more thing about the food. The food situation was, I just remembered like feeling so full all the time because you eat so much and then you go and sit for like 8 hours and then you go and eat some more.
I think I was always way too like nervous to just like chow down a lot.
I ate a lot and then sat a lot, and it just was like.
But we played basketball every day.
Did we have time
every single day? You had like an hour. Like I mean, not like on Sunday or like your P day. Actually, I think you still did on your P day.
Yeah.
So I remember like the MTC was great. I was like, they feed you that delicious chocolate milk. I get to play basketball every single day. I was like, I'll do this for 2 years. Is what I said for the first 10 days.
Yeah. And then things changed. Yeah, I was the nerd who just like went and didn't do the team sports things. It was gym class all over again, and I was just like, I refused to play this game again.
Oh, one more story of the food.
Yeah.
This is like, people will often see me at ward potlucks or anything where we're eating and in line for food, is I tuck a fork behind my ear.
Yeah.
Instead of like in my pocket or just holding on to it. And everyone's like, oh, that's a funny place to put your fork. And I'm like, there's a story. It all started in the MTC. When you get your trays full. I've got chocolate milk and diet caffeine-free Coke, There's not a lot of space. So I tucked my fork behind my ear. And some really cute sister missionary was like, ha, 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 nice fork holder. And I was like, I will never not do this for the rest of my
life. I got one little praise for it, and I've been riding on that wave for the last 10 years. That's what I wanted to talk about next, actually, is just the relationship between sisters and elders in the MTC specifically. It's kind of like the most contact you have with sisters for the rest of your mission. It feels like it's just this very concentrated. At least in my district, we had probably like 4, 5, or 6 sister missionaries with us, and so we got that contact. 2 points here. The first story that I wanted to tell was about I went to the Salt Lake Temple right before I went in to the MTC with my parents, and in that session I saw this girl that I thought was very cute, and I was like, wow, she's cute. Fast forward to like the next day at the MTC, I see her at the MTC.
Destiny.
And I was like, destiny. And I really was like, this is how God works. I know it.
There's a 0% chance it was just coincidence.
Right. No, it was absolutely real. And so I kept like seeing her around, and I'd try to like, make eyes at her and I don't even know. Like what was I trying to do? I don't even know.
There was no end game.
I had no end game. But I remember just like praying to God and being like, God, like specifically, there was one time I was like, God, if I'm meant to marry this girl, bless me that I'll see her at the next large group meeting. Lo and behold, I see her. And it was almost like this miraculous thing where like the crowd parted and at the Red Sea, and I saw her, and like doves flew out from behind her in the sunshine, kind of thing.
I can't wait for the where is she now?
Yeah, honestly.
Married to Troy.
And she's now my wife. Needless to say, I never saw her again after that. Turns out that's not how God works, apparently.
But your prayer was answered.
My prayer, in that I saw her again. I don't know. It's interesting. Learning how prayer works is like this thing this journey you go on as a missionary. The second thing I wanted to mention about that was I remember there was this, and I think maybe part of why I felt like this was because there was another missionary in another district kind of adjacent to ours, was this guy, Elder Lufau, and he had what he called a vision of this sister missionary that was in the MTC with us. And the vision was basically him and her married and with kids and a happy life.
Of course.
And so she forevermore was called Lufao's Vision. And whenever we saw her, it was like, hey, look, it's Lufao's Vision. And so I just thought that was the funniest thing. It was just, and everyone was like very invested in it and very like into it and being like, hey, did he talk to her? What happened with that? You know, just this very highly inappropriate relationship between these two. Inappropriate for the time and place. So maybe I think that was why I was like, maybe I can have a vision of, you know, this girl. Turns out, no, for me. I wonder how Lufao's vision and Lufao turned out.
Where are they now?
Where are they now? We never got to where are they now.
Time will tell.
We're getting close to being done here. Was there anything else in this episode you wanted to talk about with the MTC?
I mean, nothing too pressing.
Okay. I feel like there's so much more to talk about. Maybe we can do a part 2 of the MTC.
I think we're gonna have to.
Yeah. Because there's so much, like, getting dropped off was like, I don't know what that experience.
Right. I mean,
because that's a whole thing.
I'd never been to America before we drove down to Provo.
Here's what I think we should do. I think we should tell the stories of getting dropped off, and then I think we should wrap things up.
Okay.
Do you have I like my story.
Well, we'll save it for the end then. This is mine.
Okay.
Never been to America before. Yeah. And I remember the dedication of my brother, because my sisters were like, yeah, we can't go down to send you off or whatever. Mm-hmm. But my brother had canceled something he was doing so that he could drive down with us. Yeah. And bless his soul for that. Yeah. And I remember we're driving down, and I remember I packed like a Game Boy. Like, you know, for the 15-hour drive, I was going to burn it on the Game Boy. But
you were set apart at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I tried to, and I could not enjoy it.
No.
And so I had to like put it away.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it wasn't meant to be.
No. What game did you bring?
It's probably Pokemon. I think that was the only game I had.
Okay.
And it's like, who has time to even start a new game of Pokemon?
Harvesting Pokemon when
they're on their way to the mission.
I'm about to start harvesting souls, for God.
So yeah, I remember crossing the border into Montana and being like, so this is America. And I was like, this place is a dump. I thought this was supposed to be like the land of the free, home of the brave. So I was not initially impressed with America.
I hope you didn't say that when you got to the MTC.
I probably did. But we stayed at the La Quinta Inn in Lehigh.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the Olympic preview. I was very disappointed that in 2 days the Olympics were going to start and I was going to miss out on LeBron James and probably the greatest USA Olympic team.
Right.
Beijing Olympics, didn't catch any of it.
I saw all of it.
I missed it.
It was great.
And we went to Cabela's, also, I believe, in Lehigh. Yeah. And that's when I was like, this is America. Where it's just like a store with these taxidermied animals and like a float plane in the middle of the store. I'd never seen anything like that in Canada. And that's when I was like, America, what a place.
What a place. It should be noted that Lyndon lives in a sort of miniaturized version of a Cabela's store. There are heads, taxidermied animal heads on every wall, I believe. A gun safe in every corner, blades shined to a mirror sheen on every wall, and a mannequin with hunting gear on in the kitchen. Last part is not true, but the rest is.
I like that idea, though.
Yeah, for sure we should do that to your apartment. Okay, so you're in La Quinta. You go to you're staying at the La Quinta.
La Quinta.
And you're at Cabela's and you've discovered America.
Right. Also, it was because most people drive down to Utah in one shot.
Yeah.
My parents believe in the luxury, so we stayed our first night in Butte, Montana.
Butte?
Which is actually where my parents lived. There's a Montana Tech University is in Butte, Montana. Oh. That's where my dad got his petroleum engineering degree.
Oh, okay.
Also home to the Berkeley Pit, the largest, most toxic open mine in America.
Really?
Yeah. And so we stopped there, and it was just like a little bit of family history. It's a quaint little mining town in Montana. And the Berkeley pit is impressive.
Yeah.
It is huge, and you can tell it is deadly. And it probably leaks a lot of toxic stuff to people's basements. And I was actually impressed. I was like, this is cool.
This is America.
And anytime I drive down to Utah, I beg and plead with anyone I'm driving with. I was like, we got to stop in Butte. And they're like, why would we stop in Butte, Montana? I'm like, oh, you'll see.
Let me tell you. I think that's usually one of my stops, too, actually.
And people love the Berkeley pit.
Yeah, it's a great pit.
The biggest pit.
It's a great pit. It's one of America's greatest pits, alongside Brad. And Angelina Jolie pit. Good joke. Okay, moving on. Tell me about you get to the end, like day of.
Yeah, so day of, I don't know. It's like we drive. I think they check you in at like 11 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's like they drop you off at the curb. It's like, goodbye, family.
Oh, you were at the curb.
Yeah, you know. I think that's how that works. Did you fly in or drive down?
I drove with my family, and that's interesting you say that, because my parents came in with me, but it's funny because shortly after they stopped allowing that. There was an outbreak of some cold or
swine flu.
Swine flu. I think some people had some swine flu at the MTC while I was there.
Oh yeah, I think
shortly thereafter.
My family, they did get to go inside.
Yeah, and they
to where they had the large group meetings.
Yeah,
that's where you said goodbye.
That's where I say goodbye, and
I remember it because I was one of the first people to say goodbye. Whereas other people like lingered with their family and parents for as long as possible. I was like, we've been dragging this out for days.
Yeah, you just ripped the Band-Aid off. I was like,
hugs, hugs, hugs. Goodbye.
Tears?
No.
No tears. Not from anybody.
Well, I think I can't speak for my mother. She might have had a tear in her eye.
Yeah.
She might have been bawling.
Yeah. You just don't remember.
I often block out female emotions from my memories. My brain has a hard time processing it, so it often just forgets it.
Whenever a woman is experiencing emotions, you just see like a blur.
Yeah.
Just sort of a fuzzed out blur.
Mm-hmm. That does not compute.
Yeah, so we get to the MTC. We get to the room, big room. They show a movie to kind of whip everybody up and get everybody into the spirit of the event. And eyes are already a little glassy on everyone's part. So we finally get down to it though, and it's just like, all right, elders and sisters, stand up and go there the next 2 years of your life. And now the wails begin, the tears immediatly from everyone around.
I remember that. I was kind of like, get it together, people.
It's like a killing field, right? It's just like World War I after the Somme or something. Yeah. It's just like crying and wailing and people in tears, and the sounds were just incredible. And so it's my turn. I get up and I hug my sister. My aunt and my uncle and some cousins were there as well. I hug everyone. Some of them were in tears. I get to my sister. She's crying pretty good. We hug. I was not crying at this point. I don't know why, but I wasn't. I get to my mom. She's crying. She's, oh, I miss you so much. I get to my dad. Nothing. Just literally just nothing. He looked like he had, just gotten off a train or something.
He was just ready to hit in and out on the way home.
He was thinking about the meal on the way out. He's just like, well, see you in 2 years. And I was like, goodbye, Father. And then and that was it. And then I left. And then it began. And then I don't know, maybe we can pick up there next time. So that was presumably part 1. Maybe we'll do part 2. Maybe we'll just move on to something else. Who knows?
Time will tell.
We fly by the seat of our pants here. Do we have any housekeeping? This is still so new for both of us.
So brand new.
We have an email. It's called themissionstoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can email us. You can tell us what you thought of this episode. You can give us ideas for topics in the future. Tell us what you want more of, less of, that sort of thing.
Also, the Mission Stories Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, the Mission Stories Podcast. We're on Instagram. Check us out. You can follow us there. And basically, anytime we post a new episode, we'll put it on there. You can listen to this on iTunes. You might know that, or you might not, or SoundCloud. You just have to search Mission Stories and then look for the little black picture, Mission Stories with Troy and Lyndon. And that's about it.
That's the feedback I forgot. People said our logo was very serious.
I like the seriousness of the logo.
They saw the cover art and they're like, this sounds like a very serious podcast.
Okay, fair enough. It is black, white on black.
Very professional.
I like it. I don't know. What do they want? Comic Sans,
Yeah, I just thought it was, and I heard it more than once.
They're
like, that's a very serious cover art. I was like, you're welcome?
Yeah, I like that it's serious. Maybe
once they see with Troy and Lyndon, then they know what's up.
Yeah, I think the Troy and Lyndon is in a more delightsome font, so hopefully people appreciate that. I don't know, any last words? That's not the way to say that. I'm about to kill Lyndon Naglos. Any last words?
It's just a joy being your junior companion on this podcast.
That's right. That was some great feedback. I don't remember who said that, but we're like companions. Like that's our title in relation to each other. It is a pleasure, Lyndon. Thank you very much for being with me here.
This has been a wonderful
today
companionship inventory.
Oh, that's a whole
episode.
Oh, we got to write that down. Inventories. I was very thorough with my inventories. We'll talk about that another time.
We have to release the listeners from this podcast.
We do. You guys have a great week, and weekly. I think we're going to release these weekly.
Yeah, new episodes every week for 10 days.
So we'll see you next time, and
8 days.
And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.